Meet Mrs. Nash of Hamilton Street, Merthyr Tydfil.
I've always used Puritan because I think it's the nicest soap and the mildest soap that you can buy.
How do you get the best results, Mrs. Nash?
But with Puritan, plenty of hot soapy water and plenty of elbow grease.
But by the early 60s, even the Puritan ethic, the hard work which the name implied, was rejected for a new champion, modernity.
I'm going to clean my home the modern way, and the modern way is bright and gay with the modern soap. It's Puritan. Hooray!
I'm going to clean her home the modern way, and the modern way is bright and gay with the modern soap. It's Puritan. Hooray!
Puritan, the modern home soap.
Puritan, Puritan, the modern home soap.
Ever since, advertisers have been bringing the good news for women. Their product, and only their product, will save time and reduce the load.
Here's New Blue Vim.
New Blue Vim is what I choose. So wonderfully smooth and kind to my hands.
New Blue Vim's my choice because it contains germicide. You know, it gets at the germs you can't see.
The way New Blue Vim lathers so quickly is simply marvellous. Contains bleach, too. Grease and stains just vanish.
What I like about New Blue Vim is the lovely smell. Like spring flowers. It properly cheers you up when you're doing the housework. I think New Blue Vim's grand. Look at the canister. So bright and cheerful, no need to hide it away. It's so easy to open.
New Blue Vim is the really up-to-date cleanser.
The job of housework has changed a lot over the past 30 years. New gadgets and new cleaning fluids, new convenience foods made housework a much easier task. And so what happened was that we increased our standards. Instead of it being enough for something to look clean, it had to smell clean. And instead of just feeding the family, you had to titillate their palates and you had to provide a right nutritional balance. So whilst housework theoretically became easier, because the standards were brought higher and higher, more and more products were needed and more time was needed to make it absolutely right.
Of the many high standards to which a housewife was invited to aspire, one has always been preeminent.
Talk about whiteness.
That's honest-to-goodness whiteness. White can be even whiter.
I've never seen such whiteness.
White strength for your wash. Live with white and love it.
Shining, shining whiteness.
Whiter all the way through.
Even white nylon stays whiter.
Just that important bit white.
Double whitening power.
Whiter for Joan. This is the white and white.
Whiter for Mary.
Mary? Oh, you need these. What's with the sunglasses?
New Sunshine Rinso with Sunshine Whiteners. Put Rinso Sunshine in your machine. Do all your washing with Rinso Sunshine. Sunshine Whiteners, Sunshine Brighteners, Rinso Clean.
Are you just as happy with the whiteness of your wash?
This was an important question. It was not just the housewife's standards. It was her very moral fibre that was being judged in this battle between the good and the bad, the pure and the unclean.
Whiteness is a dimension, actually, of cleanness. Cleanness is the other side of the coin, but whiteness represents something added.
Dirt, of course, is symbolic of all kinds of things. Dirt is just matter in the wrong place. The question is, why have women constructed so many rituals in their lives for pushing dirt around to make themselves feel better?
It's not for nothing that people talk about cleanliness is next to godliness, and I suppose whiteness is the best example of cleanliness. And certainly whiteness in that sense is this restoration of something that is as good as new, is a very important symbolic psychological underpinning.
All the time you were trying to prove that you were somebody who took dirt seriously, resisted it, and got rid of it. In fact, it was very difficult often for people to achieve these ideals, and the advertisers had a field day there because they played on such a basic anxiety.
Clearly, in struggling to exorcise dirt, one had to recognize it wasn't all the same. Some dirt was shown to be relatively innocent, but there was also the problem dirt, which could be difficult, dangerous, even threatening.
New Luvil's natural enzymes take out the wickedest stains, like coke.
in searching out and destroying dirt, the greatest threat came from the dirt you couldn't actually see at all.
It appeared that as well as needing a new role once women were back in the home after the war, they also needed a new enemy. And germs replaced Germans as that enemy. And the toilet, instead of the beaches, became that unguarded entrance into all that we hold dear.
There's a lot of jobs you don't much enjoy doing, but they've got to be done, and you feel happier when you've done them.
They perceive the toilet as being the dirtiest part of the household, so in their role as the guardian of the family's health, obviously cleaning the toilet is the most important thing that they have to do. If you are conducting a consumer group about cleaning the toilet and one lady says that she cleans her toilet twice a day, then everyone else in the group will also say she cleans the toilet twice a day, and they will be lying.
What should a toilet cleaner do?
What I really look for is something that smells nice, and I think most of all that it gets it really clean.
Destroy all the germs, keep the bowl perfectly white, cleans the pan completely, and the S-bend. One lady told me that before she accepted a cup of tea in somebody's house, she would pop up to the loo to see how clean it was, and if it was sparkling clean, then she would be delighted to receive a cup of tea in that particular house.
Restrictions on what you could and couldn't show led to a whole repertoire of verbal and visual euphemism.
Nice to see them looking so well. It's worth being particular about things.
You're also dealing with social attitudes. I remember working many years ago on a lavatory cleanse. Are we allowed to say lavatory on television? Good. It was a product called Dot.
Dot? That's a funny name for lavatory powder.
It was a powder in a revolutionary breakthrough, never seen before, pack.
Just twist and squeeze.
You squeezed it, the powder went under the rim in all those unspeakable places which our potty-training childhood and anal retentive society had taught us not to talk about. But to save the great British public from embarrassment and worse, first of all, the commercial couldn't be shown before 9 o'clock at night when the children were safely in bed, and even then, to save the adults, you could only show the pack being tipped down, a downward camera movement from the top of the cistern down to what was presumably a loo, but you never saw it. In other words, the regulations then, and to extent now, protect people, in many cases, from things they need no protection from, were ludicrous.
But that didn't stop the lurid communication of the fear and loathing that lurked beneath the waterline. Domestos even hired Orson Welles to voice a new kind of horror film.
In every home, in your home, germs may lurk unseen, breeding, multiplying. Wipe them out with Domestos. Domestos kills all known germs. Dead.
Presenting the new Hoover Jr.
In the constant war against dirt, the modern housewife could increasingly draw from an arsenal of new technology.
New Hoover Jr.
Electrical appliances promised to make housework something it had never been. But there was still a problem.
That is my wife. She's confused. This is me. I'm confused too.
Consumer durables like vacuum cleaners and washing machines were expensive. They couldn't be paid for out of the housekeeping. So the advertising was pitched at him as much as her, because he had to turn up at the showroom to pay.
The only sensible thing to do was go and see for ourselves.
Of course, once there, he didn't know enough about washing to say anything.
You going to wash sheets at home?
Well, of course we'd like to, but
It's not difficult. The Service Super Twin takes big sheets easily. And Persil keeps them really white. Gets them really clean.
But he was reminded that he too had something tangible to gain from buying her a new machine.
Is this the woman in your life, still putting up with old-fashioned methods like this? Or is this the woman in your life, the woman who proudly owns a new Hoover Spinner-Rinse?
After that, if trading in his old wife for a new one still didn't tempt him, Hoover gave her its final lesson in the art of persuasion.
And I want a washing machine, you know.
Mm-hmm. Get one of those direct from the factory, John.
Oh, darling, I want to go to a good shop and choose the best one.
You're right. It is an investment. Let's get the best.
What she wrested out of him was a top-loader, a machine which, though it beat scrubbing and boiling, still involved her as much as the machine. Ironically, a surfeit of heavily marketed top-loading twin tubs made British housewives among the last in the West to benefit from the truly revolutionary automatic.